Johnson & Johnson, New York Stock Exchange, J&J, the company, today announced that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has issued Emergency Use Authorization, EUA, for its single-dose COVID-19 vaccine, developed by the Janssen Pharmaceutical Companies of Johnson & Johnson, to prevent COVID-19 in individuals 18 years of age and older. This decision was based on the totality of scientific evidence, including data from the Phase 3 Ensemble study that demonstrated the vaccine was 85% effective in preventing severe disease across all regions studied, and showed protection against COVID-19-related hospitalization and death, beginning 28 days after vaccination. The terms of the EUA allow use of the vaccine while more data are gathered. The company plans to file for a biologics license application, BLA, with the FDA later in 2021. This milestone follows a year of incredible work by our dedicated teams and unprecedented collaboration with health leaders around the world, all of whom shared a goal of bringing a single-shot vaccine to the public, said Alex Gorsky, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at Johnson & Johnson. We will do everything we can to help bring this pandemic to an end, in the United States and throughout the world. We believe the Johnson & Johnson single-shot COVID-19 vaccine is a critical tool for fighting this global pandemic, particularly as it shows protection across countries with different variants. A vaccine that protects against COVID-19, especially against the most dire outcomes of hospitalization and death, will help ease the burden on people and the strain on health systems worldwide, said Paul Stoffels, MD, Vice Chairman of the Executive Committee and Chief Scientific Officer, Johnson & Johnson. We look forward to our continued efforts around the world as we collectively aim to change the trajectory of this global pandemic. Johnson & Johnson is committed to making its COVID-19 vaccine available on a not-for-profit basis for emergency pandemic use. The company has begun shipping its COVID-19 vaccine and expects to deliver enough single-shot vaccines by the end of March to enable the full vaccination of more than 20 million people in the U.S. The company plans to deliver 100 million single-shot vaccines to the U.S. during the first half of 2021. The U.S. government will manage allocation and distribution of the vaccine in the U.S. This will be prioritized according to the populations identified by the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP, guidelines. Johnson & Johnson also recently announced its submission of a European Conditional Marketing Authorization application to the European Medicines Agency as well as its filing for an emergency use listing, EUL, with the World Health Organization for its COVID-19 vaccine candidate. In addition, rolling submissions for the single-dose COVID-19 vaccine candidate have been initiated in several countries worldwide. The EUA follows a unanimous vote by the U.S. FDA's Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, VRBPAC, on February 26, 2021. We are thankful for the efforts of all those who have volunteered to participate in our clinical trials, our scientists, collaborators, clinical trial sites and investigators. Through the combined commitment of everyone involved, we have been able to discover, develop and manufacture a single-shot COVID-19 vaccine to protect people around the world, said Mathai Mammon, MD, PhD, Global Head, Janssen Research and Development, Johnson & Johnson. Manufacturing and supply chain information. The Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 single-dose vaccine is compatible with standard vaccine storage and distribution channels with ease of delivery to remote areas. The vaccine is estimated to remain stable for 2 years at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, -20 degrees Celsius, and a maximum of 3 months at routine refrigeration at temperatures of 36-46 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. The company will ship the vaccine using the same cold chain technologies it uses today to transport treatments for cancer, immunological disorders and other medicines. The COVID-19 vaccine should not be refrozen if distributed at temperatures of 36 degrees Fahrenheit 46 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees -8 degrees Celsius. Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine. The company's COVID-19 vaccine leverages the AdVac-registered Sign Vaccine platform, a unique and proprietary technology that was also used to develop and manufacture Janssen's European Commission-approved Ebola vaccine regimen and construct its investigational Zika, RSV, and HIV vaccines. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine has not been approved or licensed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, but has been authorized by FDA through an Emergency Use Authorization, EUA, for active immunization to prevent coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, in individuals 18 years of age and older. There is no FDA-approved vaccine to prevent COVID-19. The FDA EUA fact sheet for healthcare providers administering vaccination providers, and full EUA prescribing information are available at www.janssenlabels.com/emergency-use-authorization/Janssen plus COVID-19 plus vaccine-HCP-fact-sheet.pdf. Phase 3 Ensemble Study Design. The Phase 3 Ensemble Study is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial in individuals 18 years of age and older. The study was designed to evaluate the safety and efficacy of the company's vaccine candidate in protecting against both moderate and severe COVID-19 disease, with assessment of efficacy as of day 14 and as of day 28 as co-primary endpoints. The study enrolled a total of 43,783 participants. The trial, conducted in 8 countries across 3 continents, includes a diverse and broad population including 34% of participants over age 60. The study enrolled 44% of participants in the United States. 74% of participants in the U.S. are white Caucasian. 15% are Hispanic and or Latinx. 13% are Black African American. 6% are Asian and 1% are Native American. 41% of participants in the study had comorbidities associated with an increased risk for progression to severe COVID-19. Research and development activities for the company's COVID-19 vaccine, including the Ensemble clinical trial and the delivery of doses for the U.S., has been funded in part with federal funds from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA, under contract No. HHS 100,201,700,018C, and in collaboration with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, part of the National Institutes of Health, at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS. Johnson & Johnson has worked with BARDA since 2015 on innovative solutions for influenza, chemical, biological, radiation and nuclear threats and emerging infectious diseases such as Ebola. For more information on the company's multi-pronged approach to helping combat the pandemic, visit www.jnj.com/coronavirus. Authorized use. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine is authorized for use under an emergency use authorization, EUA, for active immunization to prevent coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, in individuals 18 years of age and older. Important safety information. What should you mention to your vaccination provider before you get the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine? Tell the vaccination provider about all of your medical conditions, including if you have any allergies, have a fever, have a bleeding disorder or are on a blood thinner, are immunocompromised or are on a medicine that affects your immune system, are pregnant or plan to become pregnant, are breastfeeding, have received another COVID-19 vaccine. WHO should not get the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine. You should not get the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine if you had a severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. How is the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine given? The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine will be given to you as an injection into the muscle. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine vaccination schedule is a single dose. What are the risks of the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine? Side effects that have been reported with the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine include injection site reactions, pain, redness of the skin, and swelling. General side effects, headache, feeling very tired, muscle aches, nausea, fever. There is a remote chance that the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine could cause a severe allergic reaction. A severe allergic reaction would usually occur within a few minutes to 1 hour after getting a dose of the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine. For this reason, your vaccination provider may ask you to stay at the place where you received your vaccine for monitoring after vaccination. Signs of a severe allergic reaction can include difficulty breathing, swelling of your face and throat, a fast heartbeat, a bad rash all over your body, dizziness and weakness. These may not be all the possible side effects of the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine. Serious and unexpected effects may occur. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine is still being studied in clinical trials. What should I do about side effects? If you experience a severe allergic reaction, call 911 or go to the nearest hospital. Call the vaccination provider or your healthcare provider if you have any side effects that bother you or do not go away. Report vaccine side effects to FDA CDC Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, VAERS. The VAERS toll-free number is 1-800-822-7967, or report online to https://vaers.hhs.gov/reportevent.html. Please include Janssen COVID-19 vaccine EUA in the first line of box number 18 of the report form. In addition, you can report side effects to Janssen Biotech, Incorporated at 1-800-565-4008. This article was originally published by Johnson & Johnson Press Release on February 27, 2000.